He went to sleep and he had no idea this was going to be his last night on earth.
From misusing perfectly legal prescription drugs. We're used to thinking of it starting here, looking like this. But something happened in this country. And now increasingly, it starts here, in your own home.
As we speak, someone died. Right now.
That clip was from Dr. Sanjay Gupta's new documentary, Deadly Dose. He takes on the controversy over our country's prescription pill epidemic. It airs this Sunday, November 18th on CNN. Sanjay, now this is something you and I have talked about over the years, and first of all, congratulations for tackling this. To me, this is the headline health problem of our time. What was the most shocking thing for you?
And let me preface by saying thank you for your help, Drew. I think you're the guy that a lot of people certainly look to and talk to about these types of issues. It was eye-opening for me as well. I appreciated your help. I think the thing that surprised me the most, just as from a general perspective, is that this is now the leading cause of accidental deaths in the United States, more common than deaths from car crashes. You and I, trained in hospitals. Car crashes were the thing that, caused the most accidental deaths, I think, probably throughout our training. This has now surpassed that. The numbers of prescriptions of these types of medications, these opioid-type pain medications, has gone up 600% over a 10-year period. So they're everywhere, Drew, as you know better than anybody.
Well, and as you said, it starts in the medicine cabinet at home. Really what I think a lot of our parents out there don't realize is the stuff alongside of me here, it's on the other side, it's on this side of me, is the stuff that your kids are using. This is what they get into when they go out and party. This is what they think is cool to use, is pills, prescription meds, and the first place, the most common place they're going to get exposed to it, it is in your medicine cabinet. Tell me about that, Sanjay.
More than half the time, that's exactly where they're getting it. They certainly, it's becoming more recreational. People are getting it from friends, but more than half the time, you're absolutely right. They're getting it from their own home or the medicine cabinets of their friends' parents. So this is it. And if there's one thing that I was told, and I've talked to several different pain doctors over the last several months investigating this, is that we've all heard this, but it really struck home for me is you probably have right now, anybody who's watching, some of these pills in your medicine cabinet. You got them after a dental procedure. You got them when you went to the ER for something. Maybe you had a broken bone in the past, some sort of pain. You may have these pain pills sitting in your medicine cabinet. Think, I'll just keep them around in case I need them sometime. Yeah, throw them away. First of all, you may be tempted yourself.
Well, not only that, your kids see how casually you manage these dangerous chemicals. You leave them just sitting around your bathroom. Well, guess what? They're going to, and by the way, we have such a pill society where pills solve problems and feel good and make you feel better. You treat pills casually. Your kids are going to treat it casually, too. Sanjay, I want to play a clip from your upcoming special. This is phone calls coming into the Washington Poison Center in Seattle. Take a listen to this.
Poison Center, this is Deborah.
I'm a little concerned that I may have taken something that wasn't good for me on accident.
I took a few methadone from my grandpa.
Okay.
And they were 10 milligrams. And today I took about 90 milligrams of Percocet.
Oh, you did?
At 6 o'clock, I wasn't really thinking, and I did a bar of Xanax. And I'm reading all this stuff online about how that's a very lethal combination. I have a lot of friends who died in their sleep, and I just wasn't really thinking.
Yeah.
So now I'm wondering if I should stay up tonight.
That is a great clip. That is how this happens, the combination of the benzodiazepine medication with the opioids and people not waking up. Now, a question for you, Sanjay. This gets very complicated when we start really parsing out what's going on in the medical system. And one of the areas where this is really out of control is in the treatment of chronic pain. And my understanding is these pain societies today are taking the position that, for the most part, opioids, not a treatment for chronic pain. Why is that still so common?
Well, and the reason, I think a lot of these organizations as a starting point have taken that stance is that if you look at the data, and we looked at a lot of the best data, the longer-term data that they had, and what you find, and again, Drew, you know all this, but the studies were really done mainly on either end-of-life patients or patients with terminal cancer.
Right.
So we didn't have the longer-term data to say months or years of this use, what would it sort of do to people. And I think when you talk to some of the leaders in the American Pain Association, that's what they point to as well, that, we don't have some of that long-term data. Now, why they still continue to use it is in part because, look, from the provider's perspective, the doctor's perspective, it is easier to write a prescription, and from the patient's perspective, it's easier to fill that prescription than to do a lot of other things. And, that's not meant to be an indictment, but Drew, you've worked in emergency rooms, I have as well. These doctors barely have enough time. If they take the extra beat to figure out what else might be causing this pain, could it be an associated depression, a mood disorder, something else that's going on? And might there be other alternatives, an injection, for example, of something at the site of the pain as opposed to using a systemic narcotic? You might have other options, but it's just, this is easier. 80% of the world's pain pills are used in the United States. 80%.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's a pandemic right now. Catherine in Minnesota, you want to say something to us here?
Yes. Hello, Dr. Drew. Hello, Dr. Gupta. I am a chronic pain sufferer, and I read about these issues in the paper, and I hear about them on your show quite a bit, and I get frustrated because, Dr. Gupta, there are many of us who don't take it flippantly and do manage our pain medication with no problems. I have been on pain medication for 15 years. I own my own business. I don't smoke. I don't drink.
You're not the patients we're talking about. You're not going to die of pain medicine abuse. But here's something for you to know, though.
You're clumping, it seems to me, again and again with this epidemic, you're clumping
no, we're not.
people who
not.
take pain medications as drug addicts, and it's not fair.
No, we're not. But what we are saying, though, and this is a fact, is that pain medicine used chronically can often intensify pain. And it's actually the source of chronic pain. It's something called hyperalgesia that develops. That's right. And until you've had a try off opioids, you really don't know the extent to which that's contributing to what's going on here. And again, as Sanjay pointed out, it's not recommended for chronic pain because there's so many other things that can be done and don't have the same impact on people. If it works for you, please work with your doctor. We are all for that. I'm sure, Dr. Gupta, you agree with me on that one. Let's go to Brenda in Florida. Brenda?
Yes, hi, thank you for taking my call.
Yeah.
I'm the parent of a child, and I'm living the nightmare of a child's addiction to the prescription opiates. And my question is, why, since the manufacturers, doctors, and government are aware of the addictive properties of these drugs and deaths caused by these drugs, why hasn't the industry, the medical industry and the government, put into effect additional controls on the administration and quantities being prescribed?
That is the million-dollar question. I'll let you tackle that one.
Yeah, it's a great question. We were in Washington State, which is a state that is trying to put some of these regulations in, at least at the state level. So just to your point, what they're suggesting is that amount of pain medication be capped, that a person not be able to get over a certain amount, and that even what that amount should be is somewhat controversial, but they do it in what is known as morphine equivalence. It's a type of way of measuring the activity of pain medication. So look, it's controversial even within the state of Washington. It's not something that's caught on at a national level yet, but there are a lot of people who say that that's something that we should be doing. We should first of all figure out who all these patients are, make sure that we are able to track where and how much of these pain medications they're getting, and then also be able to cap it. And Drew, let me just put an exclamation point on what you said earlier. The data has shown, and I've read these studies now carefully over the last several months, that after a few months of taking these types of medications, the efficacy or the effectiveness goes down. They say to about 30%.
It actually can reverse. Yeah.
And then you can develop, as you pointed out, hyperalgesia. So everything hurts, and we see these patients. Everything literally hurts on them, and the cycle is very predictable. They think, I just need to take more pain medications, and the hyperalgesia gets worse. Then it's even more pain medications.
And they can't imagine being off of it because the pain is so bad. They have to go through usually 4 days of pretty bad misery. Let's face it, it's a hard thing to go through, and there's nobody to do that tough work of getting them through that because, as you said earlier, that's not reimbursed. The system doesn't support that. The patients don't want it. They'll send in dissatisfaction surveys to their insurance companies. It really, the entire system is set up